Hey everyone, welcome to my talk for VismaSecCon, which is titled Teaching Others the Mindset to Discovering Vulnerabilities with BARKER. This talk's going to be a little bit about my journey as to how I've came about creating BARKER and what I'm up to with teaching people, basically the mindset behind discovering vulnerabilities on web applications. So it's not just about knowing what the vulnerability types are, but it's about learning how to actually discover them. So as you can see there's the home page of BARKER, well, the dog page where you can add your dog. So what BARKER is it's a fully functional website with basically real findings, which I'm going to discuss a little bit in this talk. So who am I? I'm a self-taught web app hacker, so I don't really have qualifications and things like that. I just taught myself. I was just, as my friend Brute Logic says, don't learn to hack to learn. So I just got a bit curious, got a developing background, so I enjoyed making websites and things, and yeah, just kind of learn as I went along. So I've been recognized by Amazon in 2018 for my extensive security research. So I was #1 hacker on their program for a while. Yeah, I really, like I say, really enjoy finding vulnerabilities on websites, and that the puzzle and understanding how things work, mapping things out, seeing what's what. And I'm really passionate about the bug bounty space in the sense that, I mean, crowdsourced security, you've got so many talented people across the world. They can do so much for companies, and it's just great to collaborate with people, get people together, and yeah, I mean, some epic findings. Very busy these days. I do a lot more mentoring than hacking, actually. Currently mentoring over 500 active hackers on BugBountyHunter.com, and I'm helping people learn the mindset really behind finding vulnerabilities, and then connecting them with companies, and yeah, getting their talent used, because they're active, passionate people. Because as I'll be explaining in this talk, BARKER isn't like your traditional training, in my opinion, where you're told kind of what to find. But yeah, I'll explain that very soon. So yeah, that's who I am. I go by the alias at ZShawno as well, by the way. I should probably mention that. But yeah, that's me. There's just a certificate of recognition that I got from Amazon. Yeah, I really enjoy working with them, and they're actually on HackerOne with a public program now. So they actually started on a different bug bounty platform when I first was reporting to them, but they're now on hackerone.com/Amazon VRP. They're a great team, great scope, and yeah, I kind of recommend you check them out, in all honesty, if you are into doing hacking and things like that, obviously. So the journey to BARKER. So there's the login page to BARKER. So believe it or not, I actually started BARKER. Well, I didn't start BARKER in 2018, but I started mentoring back in 2018 with Bug Bounty Notes, and I had the challenges that are on BugBountyHunter.com now that you can access for free, where you're told what there is, and you've got to work things out and discover how it is vulnerable. But you're told like there's access there, because I do believe them style challenges do work. So I actually achieved top 10 on BugCrowd back in 2017, 2018 when I first actually started in bug bounties. And that was literally from looking at just one program, because as you'll learn later in this talk, one big thing that I always tell people who are interested in bug bounties is focus on one program, learn as much as you can, because yeah, you'll find more. So for those of you who are developers listening to this, I mean, you've got your playground at your fingertips already as the company you work for. So yeah, over the years I kind of received a lot of messages. How do you find these vulnerabilities? How are you doing things? And that's where I started on the mentoring path, really, and helping people understand, like, look, it's not that as hard as you think it is. You don't have to have all this black screen, green text scrolling down and looking for stuff. Like, it's literally take the website for face value as such. So like I said, I sought additional training. Like, there's nothing against all these training websites. I mean, they're good, they teach people things, but I saw that it was mainly finding flags and things like that, running nmap, looking for ports open and things like that, whereas I prefer recommending, like, look, actually dive into the web application, understand how things work, and yeah, like I say, port 1337 is open, insta hacked. So the damn vulnerable web application was more ideal. Like, I like the style of that, where you've got a web application, but they told you at the end of it, like, I mean, you could just view the solution, the bugs to that. Whereas I felt like, if I can give people, or I mean, if the way you teach people or learn hacking is you get them to kind of write down their thoughts and what they've actually found and what they believe is an issue, and let someone who knows what they're doing with hacking as such give them the guidance as to, yeah, you actually did find this, but potentially you missed XYZ to make it more impactful. So that is how, I mean, my thought process was to BARKER, and again, how I'm going to explain shortly how I came up with everything, I guess, really. So building BARKER. So as you can see, there's a screenshot of the homepage. So like I say, BARKER works just like a real web application. So you're not told what there is. Literally, it's like a fresh bug bounty target. You've just been invited, and here's the web application. What can you do? Can you log in? Can you register? What can you post? What happens? Is it mobile friendly and things like that? And this is all about teaching people the questions you should be asking yourself. How does this website work? What is it catering to? Do they actually have a mobile version? Yes or no? Are different files used? Is it on a subdomain? Things like that. Is there a mobile app? So when building BARKER, and the idea behind it is, I thought, okay, so I want to teach people, like, look, you're looking at the common websites that are out there, bug bounty programs, and you want to be able to find issues, and not only that, but developers want to be able to see common mistakes they're making and things that people are finding, basically. So I kind of sat and pondered and thought, well, I've got a lot of cool reports, XSS bypasses, chain and open redirects, some server-side request forgeries, things like that. So a lot of programs don't allow disclosure. Now, that's absolutely fine. But so basically what I did is I took majority of the bugs that I'd found and the interesting bypasses I've used and recreated them into BARKER. So I took this fully functional working web application and put all these bugs in various places based on how I found them. So for example, an XSS that was found from looking in a JavaScript file which referenced an endpoint that I hadn't ever seen, and it took a parameter and it was vulnerable. So that's kind of the idea with adding my bugs into it, and the mindset as to where I found it, because believe it or not, a few people haven't actually found that, despite finding a few other bugs that others haven't found. So it just says to me that they're not actually paying attention to what's in this JavaScript file and understanding, like, that there's an endpoint here if you grep for certain keywords and things like that. And the great thing about that is I'm not going to be annoying any companies, in the sense that, I mean, the bugs that I've found haven't been disclosed. No one knows where they've been found, but I'm able to still replicate and show my cool findings for people, and they can get that euphoric dopamine rush when it's like, cool, I actually found this, and they understand the process to find it, that as such. So there's literally no flags at all to find. They don't find a flag and then submit it somewhere. They literally have to treat it completely like a real target, and in the end write a report for this. Now, what that comes with that is manual triage. Now, this is something I recommend companies do with internal, like, hackathon things, where they basically go hack yourself, and you can make a report, generally what you found, and then the person that owns this code, feature, whatever, can sit down and work out, okay, is this actually vulnerable? And people get to know things, because someone on the team might know certain vulnerability types and what things are vulnerable, when it might teach a fellow colleague, well, I didn't actually realize this was possible, and in the end you help yourself, you end up hacking yourself, because as I've mentioned there, mindset is key for me, and teaching people the right questions to ask. Another good thing, again, with being able to do manual triage is people aren't just finding the flag and submitting it, and then they move on. I'm able to see, for example, so if they found an open redirect, did they actually work out, can they use this open redirect for anything? Are they simply reporting it as an open redirect, but if further investigation, it might be able to be chained to leak an SSO token. Now, a company would fair play, the company will fix the open redirect, but chances are they'll actually fix it a lot slower compared to if you actually used it for something with more impact. And not only that, but from company's perspective, you would much rather know, like you might receive this open redirect report and you think, okay, we won't prioritize fixing it because it's nothing too special as such, but potentially if, like I say, if it can be chained, you don't then want to have to be paying out for that, because you end up paying for double, really, because you'd be paying for the open redirect a little bit and then the fact that somebody was able to chain it. You'd rather kind of squash it and understand the impact of it there and then. So that's where I've mentioned there, did they miss anything and things like that, and like I say, chain and XSS, can they do anything, or cross-site request forgery and things like that, and I get to know them on a personal level. It's essentially like they're working for me, they're under me, and I'm training them up basically. So learning the mindset. So like I've mentioned a few times, members literally aren't told what they're looking for, and this should be the same for companies when they're hacking on themselves. You literally just go at the website at face value. Like, this is what I can do on this website. I can log in, register. Well, what values can you input? What's available to you there? So like I say, there's no mention of XSS, IDORs, anything like that. So with that screenshot, you can upload an image of your dog, select the breed, age, name, and things like that. So all the hackers are doing are simply testing these values as to what they might be vulnerable to. Are they inserting XSS payloads? They're seeing if they can do any SQL injections. They'll be checking for what type of files can be uploaded. There's provide a URL to an image there where it will query for the contents and give it back to you. How does that work? Now, this is where I always say to companies that they can learn to hack themselves, because it's literally a case of just learning to use your website and understanding what's intended and what is actually possible, because you can then feed that back, like I say, straight back to the owner of that, hopefully if they still work for the company, and get their thoughts and like, well, look, is this possible? Why is this possible? So for example, with the breed, let's say you've got this drop down box, but it didn't actually validate what the breed was. So somebody could literally enter anything they wanted and it would reflect it back. It might not lead to XSS, but is this intended? Did you mean to do this? Why have you done it like this? And people can get educated, really. And like I say, so members on BugBountyHunter have got BARKER to practice on, but like I say, companies listen to this, developers and things like that, you've got the company you work for as your playground, so just consider that. So my methodology is all about using literally the site as intended, and this is what I really wanted to focus on when building BARKER, because before on Bug Bounty Notes it was a case of, well, there's XSS here, can you find it? But with BARKER, you just get given the website, what can you do? What's literally right in front of you? What's in JavaScript files and things like that? And then as they progress, they're able to disclose their issues and view other users' issues and things like that, and discussing them what they found. Because there's an endpoint, for example, on BARKER where there's XSS, which a lot of people have found, but the endpoint is actually like, then if they look at the name of the endpoint, it should give them suspicions that, does this endpoint do anything else? And if they mess around with the content type and post get requests and things like that, then they'll discover that something else actually does happen. But out of, let's say, I don't know the exact numbers from top of my head right now without looking, but there's around 200 people that have found the XSS, but less than 20 have found the other bug. So that's where over time people, and this is why I would say sticking to the same target and looking at the same website, web application, scope, and that is handy, because once you've been through it, you then question, okay, what have I missed? Other people, for example, on BugBountyHunter, they can see what other people have found, like how many bugs other people have found. So a lot of people have mentioned, I've been through the web application like 30 times and I've only found 30 odd bugs, for example, but other people have found like 90. Then it begins, really makes you question, well, what else? What have I missed here? What have I not looked at? And then they start looking through JavaScript files, looking at source, looking at API calls, testing various things, and questioning more about how the web application works, basically. And like I've been mentioning, here's an example actually where, like I say, members are able to write up their report, it's like I say, it's like a virtual bug bounty target, and that was the idea behind when I built BARKER and BugBountyHunter. because they're forced to literally learn the web application. How does things work? Where are cross-site request forgery tokens used? So we can see here's a great report from VismaSec where he basically discovered that the old password is not verified at all, but there's also a cross-site request forgery vulnerability on this endpoint as well. Now, a few people have reported that you can change the password without the old password being valid, but they've missed a cross-site request forgery. But that's where, again, you can educate people, because they might not have thought to try it there, or they might have seen they might have thought, I thought it wasn't vulnerable because I saw XYZ, and they didn't think to test anything. And this goes the same for when developers are developing code and things like that. We don't question. I mean, I'm a developer myself. Sometimes we miss things. We don't question things. And that's why with security, it's a team effort, and we can all help each other. I mean, we've got each other's backs, help each other back up if we make some mistakes and things like that, and educate really. So this is kind of where you can go learn to hack yourself. Sorry. It's a free methodology. It's completely free on BugBountyHunter.com/Shauno. And so getting access to BARKER does cost, and I'm not here to plug it. I mean, this talk is about kind of my journey and how I came about building BARKER. I manually triage issues, so yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of time. I've triaged over 9,000 issues now. So yeah, I'm building kind of a team as such. But the methodology that I recommend, this is the exact methodology that I follow when testing web applications, questions I ask myself, tools I use, and things like that. It's completely free. I recommend you go grab yourself a copy. But the reason why you don't need to buy access to BARKER is because you actually have your very own playground, because this talk for VismaSecCon is aimed at developers, developer mindsets. So you already have your own playground. The website, the company you work for, you know what's what, can be in scope, and get something organized internally. Run literally a weekly hackathon where people get together and developers hack each other's code, understand how things develop this way. Did we know about this? Old bugs. Even if you've got a backlog of bugs that people have reported to you, you know they're vulnerable, but you just haven't got time to fixing it, then you sit down and work out solutions to getting things fixed completely. So, I mean, if you've got a lot of XSS bugs pending, then, do you know what I mean, look into CSPs, how to not, do you know what I mean, don't make sure it doesn't break your website as such. But yeah, look into CSPs to squash it completely, understand. But not only that, if you are listening to this and you do run a bug bounty program, then potentially go through the reports that users have reported to you, and I've always said to people on Bug Bounty Hunter, put yourself in the other hacker's shoes, and this is actually what the recent hack event has been about with First Blood V2, where they can view the disclosed reports on First Blood V1, and they have to then go replicate and see how it's been patched. You can view information on this on BugBountyHunter.com, by the way, if you're thinking what are hack events. So if you run a bug bounty program, you've got some cool reports. Go through the users' reports, replicate them, put yourself in the hacker shoes, and understand how they got to this point and why they were thinking about trying this. And yeah, kind of have fun. So I hope you've had fun listening to my talk as to me building BARKER, and this has been my journey. I've been doing bug bounties now since 2016, 2017. Started mentoring about 2018, and BARKER came about in 2020, so it's been open for a year now, and I've got some amazing feedback from members. I've helped people go from learning nothing, and now in the last 9 months they've been earning money from bug bounty programs and connecting them with the companies. But I'm not here to plug the whole website as such. I'm here to help developers learn, and how you can help each other learn the mindset, because you guys have the playground and something to play around with. You don't need the test web application as such, because I strongly feel like you can learn how to hack. There's so many tutorials, videos, everything on vulnerability types and challenges and things like that. But when it comes to actually applying this and taking a website at face value and finding vulnerabilities, I feel like something was lacking, and that's why I created BARKER. But you as developers, you have your website. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the talk, and like I say, go hack yourself. Go ask these questions that I asked myself in the methodology. Hack yourself, because I bet there's vulnerabilities to be found, and it's great fun. And who knows, maybe if you're a developer listening to this, you can do bug bounties on the side. But yeah, thank you everyone. Take care. Be safe.